I'll try to record one more culturally reassuring video. I call it culturally reassuring because, myself excluded, I have little doubt that most people who come across these videos want the Beatles to get away with their genocidal hostilities. No matter how many people suffer, no matter how many lies are told, no matter how many norms are broken, no matter how many uh, derailments of civics are effectuated, no matter how hopeless of a mess the result. But it's a little bit, um, um, what's the word that maybe Duff used to use? Tricky to negotiate the idea that the brutal child molesting, mutilationist, slaughtering, kidnapping, forgeries of the city of Pittsburgh are not actually what they mean by provincial norms. Well, Beatles hope to get away with it by making a laugh that everybody can relate to. And therein lies the questionable character of the camouflage that um, is put up by the public relations of Pittsburgh as their norm. In other words, Peter Leo doesn't come out and say, yes, we molest children in garage, kidnap, torture them, gas them, and force feed them inhalants while we stroke them in ways that are horrifying to the victim. Pat, he says something different. Well, there is corruption in the United States, and Pittsburgh likes to keep it friendly, or something along those lines. So I'll tell you about Martin Handelman. He was a Shady Side Academy type, and rich Israeli, but for reasons largely related to what they were pulling with me. He decided to attend Taylor Alderdice High School. He was friends with a professor named Fullum, who was a black professor and a trainer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His last name is spelled like Fulham Palace Cafe, I believe. Fulham, Fulham, and or some variation. Fulham Cafe was where King Crimson kept track of, you know, time off, time signatures, colored socks, that sort of thing. It was their inventory storehouse. Fan letters, and it was on Kings Road, 64A Kings Road, which was the number, by the way, of the bus that ran in the quarters around Taylor Alderdice, 64A. But Martin Alderman also was a friend of Thaw's, Magna Cum Thaw's, and Leslie Katz. Thaw's created a storyline about Harvard date rape while Leslie Katz created a helter skelter, do you or don't you want me to make you? And Martin Alderman would go, don't stop, don't. And he parked out the East West Circuit outside um, Sarah Weck's house, next door to where Leslie Katz had her graduation party's valedictorian of Ellis. Symbolic, valedictorian virgin. You know, Peg Simons of Hypatia Feminist got in the game with the cover girl of Hypatia's feminist philosophy. They're working, ideological ideas about trafficking on a person who basically grew up a homeboy. The laughter that you get from Liverpool is they call me a fuck boy. But in public schools, they call me a derf, which is like a serf. It's the idea that people, there's people who just date and try to fall in love and have a hard working class life are still entitled to their dignity. I mean, that's basically why Biden won the election, because he knows that the American working class voter is a bunch of people who see each other on the bus. But um, it's turned into a theater around me. Buses are unsafe because of Hollywood. But the way that the Hollywood tapped into the situation in Pittsburgh was through the deer hunter crowd. And George Romero, makes just sort of professional and independent experimental real world impingements on various personas that served as guinea pigs for the medical establishment. Dr. Weck, Dalton Wademaker of Attica State Prison was involved. And they said, like, AKA newswoman, the doctor said, stranger things have happened at some strategic when they were intoning for Penis Gabriel and Obama and the Jeffrey Corporation, their lurid justification for their Venus flytrap, justifying the AIDS attack on Mount Desperado, which they lied about. Stranger things happened and a boyfriend attacking one of his rivals. Like De Niro in The Mission. Me, you do not love. And he goes, nothing stranger than that has ever happened in my family. That's not the kind of people we are. Not that would have been extremely strange. But they called my letter to Leslie a godsend because I reacted so uh, offendedly. I was so offended by their suggestion that that would be the answer I would come up with to my being rejected. That they called my letter a godsend because they could say there was anger and hysteria in the letter. In other words, they could invert it. They could make it say what it didn't say, and then create a behavioral paradigm out of anything they wanted. Push buttons, pull levers, and tap into a neuroplasm that they'd implanted. And behold, comes the boogeyman himself, Robert Fripp. Virginity proves rape, and Paul McCartney comes and castrates him, and Yoko Ono says, "Zip, the raven brings on darkness and night." Simple as that. Revenge for Hiroshima and the little boy. And the Navy said, "Go apologize to her." Literally. So, because that's what, and Seattle didn't said, "We don't accept the apology. On behalf of her, we'll reject the apology." The Navy lines up and salutes Heil Hitler, because that's who this is about. It's the Axis revenge using neurohypnosis, because nonviolence is what the stop. Jimmy Curry's being afraid to hurt somebody proves he's in a pact with the devil. This is the Fern Hollow gangs. So don't laugh. This is imperial wisdom, the Spooner beanies. So Martin Edelman was friends with Fullum, but he was also in the class with another person who Fulham touched base with, as Miles Kirshner would say. His name was Ewart, Ewart, East West Art. He used to jog, he made a point to jog me up by East West Circuit, um, outside Sir Wex, where Alderman and Thaws would cohabitate together. They were supposed to be in classes. And Ewart, he said, to Ewart, I see you're hanging around with that queer Carrera. They sort of had um, a provincial norm that was being keeping it friendly. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sort of Peter Leo aspect of provincial norm, keeping it friendly. about that queer career.